No one really explains what the assistant professor interview process actually looks like. You see job ads, you submit documents, and then nothing. Weeks go by, sometimes months. When I was preparing for faculty applications myself, this uncertainty was one of the hardest parts. Not knowing what actually matters, what happens behind the scenes, or how people are evaluated. So in this video, I want to walk you through the assistant professor interview process as I experienced it, step by step, from the perspective of someone who applied while being a postdoctoral scholar and eventually got the position. This is not a formula and not a guarantee. It's simply what the process looked like for me and what I believe helped. If you are new here, I'm Gulsum Kulsharova. I'm an assistant professor, and before that, I spent several years as a postdoctoral scholar. I applied for an open assistant professor position while I was a postdoc, a standard competitive academic job opening with many applicants and no internal track. I want to share this from the perspective of someone who recently went through the process, not as a hiring committee member. First things first, the application process itself required several documents: a cover letter, a research statement, a teaching statement, and a CV. What surprised me the most in the process was how important coherence was across all these documents. Not perfection, but consistency. You have to show the same train of thoughts in each document. Your research statement, teaching statement, and cover letter need to tell the same story. Who you are as a researcher, what direction you are going in, and why your work makes sense long term. After submitting everything, there is usually a long waiting period. Weeks pass, in some cases months. In my case, it was a couple of weeks, and during that time you hear nothing really. This was honestly one of the most psychologically difficult parts of the process. Shortlisting and interview invitation. When I received an invitation to interview, the mindset shifted immediately. Up until that point, the goal was to be noticed. You wonder if you'd be invited to an interview or not. Once you are shortlisted, the question changes. At that stage, they are no longer asking, is this person qualified, since you've been chosen already? So they are asking, can we imagine working with this person for years, and let's find out more about this person during the interview. That shift in perspective is very important. The central part of the interview process was the presentation, the job talk. This is where I invested the most effort. I knew that this presentation decides whether I make it or not. Not only in the scientific content, but also in the structure, the clarity, the value design, and the overall flow. I treated the presentation not as a simple research update, but as a demonstration of how I think, how I communicate, and how I teach. So I focused on clearly framing the problem, my research project, explaining why my research field matters, presenting results without overload, making sure the audience, the interview panel, could follow, definitely, even if they were not specialists in my exact field. There were about, in my case, 12 professors on the interview panel. I spent a lot of time refining the slides, simplifying visuals, and practicing actually the delivery itself too. Looking back, this preparation was one of the most important parts of the entire process for me. Beyond the presentations, there were discussions about research, teaching, and future plans. What stood out to me was that these conversations felt less like an exam and more like an assessment of fit, whether my research direction fits the department's needs, the school needs, whether my research and me as a candidate can benefit the school in the long term overall. The interview panel simply was trying to understand how I think, how I explain ideas, how I respond to questions, that's a big part, and how I see my work developing over time. Besides that, I also was asked some questions about teaching, what courses I could teach, how I could benefit the department. Overall, clarity, professionalism, and calm communications matters a lot. It shows that you're confident and you have clear vision on your career as well as your contribution to the department. What I think helped me, I want to be careful here because this is my interpretation, not a universal rule. But looking back, I believe a few things helped me. First, having a clear research identity. Not doing everything, but knowing what my focus was. Second, a strong communication. Not just having results of the work that I've done so far, but being able to explain them clearly and to make sure that they are clear enough to the people that are not from my field of work. Third, treating the presentation seriously, not as a formality, but as a key signal. Finally, being realistic and professional about where I was in my career and where I was heading overall in the future. The academic job market is long and unpredictable. Rejections are common. Uncertainty is part of the process. One successful outcome does not really define your worth. And one rejection does not define your future either. Sometimes you could do perfectly, but still the candidate may not fit the department's needs, or the research direction could be not of interest at that current time. So I want to encourage you not to take things personally. Sometimes, even if you do your best, outcome is not as expected. But regardless, since we do not know what the outcome could be, we need to try doing our best, and then we would not have any regrets that we didn't do enough. Preparation compounds over time, and much of this work helps you even if one specific application doesn't work out. So you should always try to do your best and then let the rest go. Let the rest flow. If you're currently preparing for faculty applications or planning to apply in the future, I hope this information was helpful to you. If you're interested to know more about the promotion process, watch this video over here. And for more videos about academic careers, research, communication, and early faculty life, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for your attention. I will see you in the next video.